Good morning. Hello. Happy Saturday, everyone. How you doing? Right, what's going on here? What we got going on here, Dan? Uh, 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 uh. I've literally just got files everywhere on my desktop at the moment. It's horrific. You know when you try and find something and you just have to, oh, it's like looking through a needle in a haystack. We've got that going on at the minute. And I've lost something. Right. If you can hear purring, by the way, that is the cat. Ah, there we go. That's what I was looking for. Thank you very much. Yeah, there we go. Bits and pieces. So we're going to do a little bit of UI design today to kind of hopefully be helpful with the competition that's going on at the moment. We do have a UI design competition. And if you would like to enter that, you've got all the details in the Discord. Let me just find a nice little link to that one. Where are you? God, I've got so many links. Dansky community. Yes, if you do want to join the community and hang out, chat, share your work, can I have a shout out, please? No. There you go. So yeah, there's a link to the community, and there's a separate channel there where you can enter. You've got all the details, but essentially it's a UI design for a video game of some description. So it's a bit different to your typical kind of website or app. Hopefully the audio and everything is okay as well. This morning when I was getting this set up, it's been like a week since the last stream. I was setting everything up and I plugged one USB-C cable from one side of the Mac into the other. I didn't plug it into the tablet, and I was just like sat there, why isn't my pen display working? I'm like, well, you haven't plugged it in, you idiot. UI is something I need to get into more. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I spent most of my career doing UI design, which I don't think, I mean, I do mention it quite a lot, but some people might not know that. But when I stopped freelancing for sort of projects and things in late 2017, like I still enjoy doing it. In fact, I love doing it, but it was like a skill set that didn't really have a purpose, you know? It was very much like, oh, okay, I've got a project, I've got a brief, I've got a problem, objectives, and that was the sort of real fun part of it. But without the sort of client work to really drive it forward, it just sort of felt like a skill set that I didn't really use anymore. So I do kind of miss it, to be honest. But considering I love video games, I always have. I love UI design, and so it's quite nice to be able to every now and then I will do something with a bit of UI, but in a more video game context, which is something I never used to do. It was just a lot of websites and apps and things, but I kind of want to give you a little look into my entry so far. Obviously, my entry doesn't count, but it's good fun for me, good practice. And you'll see all sorts of bits and pieces here, icons and different versions. And whereas normally a lot of UI stuff, you would typically do it in, well, maybe not XD anymore because it's been discontinued, but like your Figmas and the like. For me, I like working in Photoshop for the more creative stuff. This is very video game inspired, very conceptual. Figma's great, you can prototype, you can do all this kind of cool stuff in it. But when it comes to like video game design, I think probably maybe Photoshop or Illustrator, depending on the style you're going for, is going to be a lot better suited for the creative side of it. Especially if you look at some of the icon designs or even certain mobile games, they've got like a very cutesy style, Have you ever played Minecraft? No, but my son plays it all the time. He loves Minecraft. Hey, Paulina. Yes, I'm feeling much better now, thank you. Yeah, that was really unpleasant and annoying. But the silver lining was I did eat a lot less food than I normally do for a whole day, which is great. And it actually forced me to take a break from work and the computer and everything. So it was kind of like I'm usually very work oriented, so it really just made me take a couple of days to just chill down a bit, relax. It did me some good actually. Yeah, I think there's a few people who are entering the competition who haven't done any UI design before. particularly video game. This is like a very specific type of design as well. So if you do have any questions about UI design or video game design, oh no, Mac all the way, 100% Mac all the way. If you haven't done it before, then just, I'm an open book. Fire them at me, and I'll try and be as helpful as I can. Is M2 Pro? Oh yeah, I mean M2 Pro is what I'm using now. MacBook Pro, M2 Pro. I've got the one with the 19 core GPU. The only thing that is a pain, and I would have liked to have got more, but I just couldn't afford it at the time, is the hard drive. If you're not going to be doing any like video content creator, whatever kind of stuff, and you're not going to be doing, actually no, it's pretty much that, like, recording 4K footage, which is just ridiculous in file size. I'd say 512 is okay, but if you can push the hard drive storage, I've got a terabyte in mine, but I've got external backup disks and other stuff as well to back up. I've just, yeah, in my main tower, which is, where is it, under the desk, I've got like an 8 terabyte drive just to store like 10 years worth of YouTube content. The file size is just ridiculous. I don't know why I keep looking at the microphone when I'm talking. You're in front of me there. Sorry. I'm so used to the camera being like off to the left. 8 GB enough for Photoshop and Illustrator on a Mac? Yeah. The Mac Mini that I've got, it's an M1 Mac Mini from 2020. I've got it at the office, and that's what I've recorded all my course lessons so far on. I wanted to record the course lessons on a more budget-friendly, low-power computer, just because I know not everyone's going to have, like, state-of-the-art whatever, the new latest M27 chip or whatever. So, and it runs just fine, absolutely just fine. There's a few features that are a bit more demanding in Photoshop in particular, and if you're going to do 3D, don't even think about it. But yeah. Designer TKH, you got a lot of things learned from you and your YouTube channel. First of all, thank you for that. Hey, you are very welcome, my friend. Basic 3D rendering is okay. 13-inch Mac. Yeah, it depends. It depends what you're rendering. Yeah. If it's a really like simple still render, yeah. If you're trying to work actually in 3D with kind of a live cycles preview, for example, you could probably do some 3D in Illustrator as well, but just where is it? Yeah, when you're working in 3D with Illustrator, what I would typically do, because the 3D effects are actually, I believe some elements of them are raster based, or they're affected by that. I would work in 72 ppi, so it's nice and snappy. And then if you do have your final design you want to, like, I don't know, copy and paste into Photoshop, switch over to 300 ppi, so you get the best quality out of the 3D with the ray tracing and all that. Then copy and paste it out. It'll take a minute to load, but then switch back to working in 72 when you're just generally working. Because otherwise, if you're working in 300 ppi, and as soon as you make any change, you'll get a big old loading bar and it'll take forever. Hey, Dilshan. Right, so let me show you kind of where I've got to with my design anyway. So this is based on, well, I don't know, what sort of age is everyone here? How old are we? I'm 38, so this is a game that came out for the PlayStation 1 in 1999. Dino Crisis, made by the same people that did Resident Evil, so Capcom. So if you're as old as me or a bit older, then maybe you'll remember this. If you're young, and you probably will be like, what on earth is this? Basically, it's Resident Evil with dinosaurs. It was a flipping great game, but it needs some sort of remake. It needs an update. I'm 26. Oh, so creative, my era. Yes, excellent. Very good. So, Yeah, what Capcom did with a lot of the old Resident Evils, they actually modernized them with remakes, and they've been doing that for the last few years, and they're flipping brilliant. But Dino Crisis is one that is still trapped on the PlayStation 1 with pixel graphics, and it desperately needs an update. And I know that if they did, they would absolutely kill it because. Do you mind? Wait. Oh, look at him. He just thinks he owns the desk. This cat just owns the bloody desk. Come on, move your ass. Let me move the sellotape. He just walks around and does what he wants. I'm 43. Excellent. Okay. Do you have the RTX 5090? No way. Do not. No. Is that even released yet? Or has it just come out? I don't even know how much a 5090 is. Jeff the Talking Mongoose. Oh, it's your birthday soon. Oh, nice. Kitty ski, yeah. So I'm using Photoshop instead because you just can't do any of this stuff in Figma. I mean, try to kind of work with VFX in this sort of same way in Figma. Yeah, this is a very clean UI, but I'll show you exactly why I wouldn't use Figma for this more conceptual, hyper creative thing. Let's say I want to add like a distressed texture. This is something they do in a lot of their games. I want to add like a distressed texture to this box. You can't do that in Figma. So, to my knowledge anyway, maybe there's some sort of plugin, but for the raw sort of, the way that I would think about this project is almost like you're pitching it. You're trying to come up with a concept, a snapshot. So what is it? In the brief, I think you have to do the main start screen, the in-game shot with the menu and the bits and bobs, and then any other optional screens you want. So, and I think Figma, for if you were to prototype it and blah, 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 all that stuff, yep, great. But this is almost like a concept that we're trying to put together, like a vision. What are you doing over there, cat? Yeah, so what I'm probably going to do with this when I finish the whole thing is we'll see what the design looks like, but this is going to be the start screen. You're going to have start game, which is going to be flashing on and off like that, as you'd expect. We're going to have the particles over here that will probably be moving. This light will be glowing. The whole thing will be zooming in very, very slowly. We've got particles up here that will probably be glowing as well. So a little bit of animation. If I'm feeling really creative, I might try and have a dinosaur very quickly run across in the background. Don't know if I can do that, but we'll see. And then for this one, this is kind of more of the, let me figure out my layers a sec. What are you doing? What are you doing? Have you literally just gone back over there so you can rustle some paper around to then meow 5 seconds later because I'm ignoring you? You're a funny little cupcake. Yeah, so this is kind of like an over-the-shoulder screenshot of like how the gameplay would look. So with this competition, you can use AI generation to generate parts of your image, but it's all explained in the brief, kind of how playing with a pencil now, how AI kind of factors into the whole thing, And I think this is probably a good use of AI, or better than you like with something like the other competitions we've done, because using AI in this will help your concept, but it's not going to just be like an instant win. Like you could generate something in AI. In fact, if the whole thing is just the whole UI design is dependent on AI and it's a very like integral part of it, your entry would be marked down. Yeah, so let me show you what I did with this, because I mean, I think I've said this before. Generating stuff with AI for me, just the whole thing, I get nothing from it. I get no satisfaction. I find it boring. I don't care for it, whatever. So this scene I kind of built up from a bunch of images, and I'm hoping I've got them here. Oh, of course. Of course, they're scattered around my desktop, aren't they? Hang on. Let me chuck them in. Dinosaur. Oh, where are you? Where are you? Okay, never mind. Well, it is. I'll show you. So let's break it down. Okay. So this, if I... Oh, hang on. There we go. Okay, so this is the original image. As you can see, I don't know what the heck this floating weird dinosaur thing is. That's no good. That had to go. But this is the AI image. And I think that looks pretty cool. And this is what I do like about AI as well. I do find this very useful because I want to work on this as a UI project. You know, I want to put a lot of the focus, and a lot of the focus is, as it states in the brief, on the UI itself. So that is where a lot of the kind of judging is going to happen, is on the UI design. I don't want to spend 3 weeks building a 3D scene and rendering it out, you know, just for a concept. I want to kind of quickly throw something together that I can see if it kind of looks good. So what did I do here? So here we started with that. Obviously, weird floating dino thing. Straight away, he had to go. I'm sorry, he had to go. And then we added the raptor. So I generated this as a separate asset on its own. So I kind of wanted, I knew I was going to have a character here with kind of like that over-the-shoulder shot. So I wanted a raptor either looking away from her or confronting her. So I generated a whole bunch of different raptors. Let me show you actually. Where are they? I think this is it. Yeah, oh, I mean, this took a while. This took a flipping long time. Yeah, look at some of these generations. Trying to get that over the shoulder angle was flipping hard. Yeah, like I couldn't get the camera to go behind her. It was really annoying. Yeah, I knew exactly what I wanted. What was it? Yeah, look at some of these ones. Double guns. I don't know what's going on here. Yeah, I think this was she kept turning her head. I can't remember which one I used exactly. But one thing that really helped me with these was ChatGPT. Because I explained to ChatGPT what I wanted, and it then wrote the prompt that got me to this point. Yeah, so it took a few generations, but this kind of stuff. So ChatGPT wrote me this stupidly detailed prompt. No, I used to use Midjourney for a few bits and pieces, but the way that I use it is more for generating individual assets that I can then work with. So rather than trawling stock sites, trying to find the perfect stock, and then, you know, what you find is still not ideal. Especially if you like, a lot of my photo art stuff is very like epic video game inspired. And so to be able to generate my own stock assets and like generate my own character looking exactly how I want them to look, with the hair color, the hairstyle, the clothing, the weapon they're holding, this kind of stuff is just perfect for me. And it's designed in a way that it just makes it easy to use as well. So rather than me trying to go and trawl through stock sites everywhere, trying to cobble together a character that looks like Regina from Dino Crisis, she's got like the very sort of striking sort of red hair with the bob cut. Rather than me trying to trawl stock sites to piece together some sort of Frankenstein from this backwards camera angle, which is just nigh on impossible because I've done it before, I can now just generate the character without the kind of retouching done. Just the raw character, exactly how I want her to look. Where's it gone? I don't know what's happened. But then I can still do all the creative stuff. So it just saves me a ton of time, and I don't have to then Frankenstein something together. And I can't draw the character, you know, I'm not an artist like that. I'm not gonna draw the character. And so, yeah, I know AI can be one of those topics that's very, very divisive, but for me, especially with something like this, where I kind of want to focus a lot on the UI, I don't know what's happened now. I think I've broken it. Um, it does make it very, very easy for me to just come up with not even the entire scene doing the creative. Literally, just I still only want the stock assets. I don't want it to generate the finished thing for me. I want to get stuck in. I want to work on it in Photoshop and be creative myself, and then practice my skills. Like that's what I want to do. But anyway, I think I've broken the website now, so I'm not entirely sure what's happened. Yeah, I've got my references. Where are they? I think I might have I think yeah, I think I might have uploaded some of these to ChatGPT as well, and just kind of showed it what the character looked like and what some of the levels looked like. Yeah, this is the original from 1999. OG Regina with a pixel face, and back in the day when fingers didn't move, they were like this, just kind of talked like that. Yeah, I don't know what this is. I think that's someone's concept art, or they've had a go at doing their own UI. But yeah, this is all the OG stuff, so hence the extreme pixelation. But yeah, so I generated a bunch of dinosaurs, picked this one. Really quick and easy to cut out. I used to use select subject. It's very good still. However, I'm really finding that the object selection tool is flipping good. I think they've buffed this behind the scenes. I think this tool has been given some... This tool has like been given some steroids or something, because it is a lot better than it used to be now. Yeah, look. It's just... It cuts a lot of stuff out, even like little intricate wires and things. It cuts it out really well, to the point where I'm sometimes like, whoa, Photoshop, I didn't know you could do that. So Raptor Dude, he goes in there. A big part of getting your composites looking good is picking the right images. So you want the angles to match. So the angle between the character and the dinosaur where he's looking, it's got to line up. Once you've got that, the rest is real easy. So what do? We balance the exposure, because at the moment Dino's too bright. A good way to check if your exposure is balanced is to just strip out the color. So if you add a black and white adjustment layer at the top of your layer stack, you can see how it's looking. So you want to kind of look at the dark areas, the medium areas, and the light areas in both images. And you want to try and balance them. So you can see here the darkest parts of the background. If I get the color picker, you can see these are the darkest bits. Let's get my color picker up. There you are. You can see that it's black. It's very, very black. The shadows are very black. Whereas if I go and click on the darkest parts of this dude, you know, in here, it's still a little bit lighter. We do have some really dark bits here, but generally the raptor is a lot lighter. He doesn't really look like he fits in the scene. So as soon as I drop that down, I think I did another one here as well. Yeah, you could see that he just looks more like he fits in the scene. He's obviously further away, so he's a bit darker as well. I think he might have some highlights on him, but that's in the other file. So normally, yeah, you do your highlights in here as well, but... So that's a good way to kind of get the exposure correct, is just to remove color from the equation, work on the exposure, and then do the color after. So if you do it before and after, you can see it's just, it's night and day. So that's pretty much it for the scene, or at least that bit. What did I do then? Fit artboard on screen. Why are you not working? No, you're gonna have to wait. I would love to work with you one day. Oh, that's very kind of you. Hmm. Yeah, bad perspective can throw it off. Kind of like with the snake in the apple from a few streams ago. That thing wasn't ideal. Okay, so what did I do here? Made everything darker. Ah, yeah. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so here just making everything a lot darker and then adding some fog. The fog is literally just a solid block of color. Um, and then you brush in like with a really soft brush. You want to just grab one of Photoshop's default brushes. This one here. Just drop the opacity, or no, sorry, the flow down to like 2%. And then you just brush in. Let me use a higher percentage so you can kind of see it a bit quicker. You literally just brush in like that. You can brush in atmosphere. It's such a flipping good technique. I can't remember where I learned it, but it was so good. So obviously you do it behind the dinosaur, but you just kind of brush in there if you want a bit more fog in the background, a bit more haze. And then maybe a bit over here. You could have some coming across. It's such a good way to just add that look, like subtle atmosphere. Yeah, flipping brilliant. Window lights. Okay, so there's light here. So we've got a lot of lights in the scene, but the AI hasn't really generated enough dramatic lighting. I want it to be a bit more dramatic than that. So we can add lighting there, coming in from both sides. You can see the difference. And it blends really nicely with that fog as well. Did you use a grid to design the UI in Photoshop? No. I'll show you some of that in a minute because I did some in Illustrator. If it was a more complex UI with more elements, I probably would. But I'll show you that one in a sec because it's still a work in progress, and I've had quite a lot of backwards and forwards on that. Right, so this is the character. So this is not the one I got from the generation. I've actually done a lot of work on the character as well. Oh no, the watch is crap. Get rid of that. Yeah, so you can see it's not just like a let's just use AI and just generate the character done. It's very much like a starting point. So this was, whoops, that was the original one, but proper Regina has a little bit more hair. So what did we do? We removed that greenish color from the straps because she wears a very sort of black and gray tactical attire. Got rid of that bit, so filled in the glove. There's a highlight on the right side of the gun, which doesn't make sense because the light on this our scene is on the left. So I filled that in with a curves layer. Added the gray. So just brightened up part of the image and masked it so we've got that whole gray and black thing. What are you meowing about? The hair. This was a big one for me. At the moment, it's just not the right hairstyle. She's got like a bit more... It's probably still not quite right. Yeah, like a bit more of like a rounded sort of bob shape. I think bob is the right sort of term. And it's good actually to work on like a different layer. Work on a grey layer or a black layer because you can kind of see your hair cut out a little bit better. So you can see it's a bit rough around the edges still, but because it's blended onto a very dark scene, I can kind of get away with it. But for the hair, I used another one of those AI generated images, but one that had better hair, and I just kind of masked it. So just literally cut certain bits out and sort of had it so it's sweeping in the right way. Yeah, there you go. You can see there, just bends around like that. Blending the color is easy. You just use hue saturation. You adjust the hue from an orange to a bit more red. So a real quick and easy, lazy blend. Might need to do a bit of work on the back there, but... And this one here, yeah, this last layer is where I drew some hairs. So just using a very small brush, just did a few hairs. I'll probably do some more towards the end as well. Exposure. What was that? Ah, yeah. I added a watch. I'm not 100% happy with that. The perspective looks weird, but she does have a watch in the game. And then had to obviously do the shadows, kind of match it. So definitely a little bit of work to kind of bring her up to like the starting point. This is before we kind of do any of the shadows. But the good thing about the way this is set up with the smart object is I think I just dropped basic Regina in, started doing all the retouching and everything, but then I can still go back in and actually edit the character itself. So it's quite a nice sort of way of working. Bad kitty. The red light reflecting off the ground. She should be pointing. Yeah, she is. She's in a maybe she's about to point the gun. She's having a think. Or we could just make the dinosaur really tiny and put him further away. Yeah, she's not. Yeah, 100% agree with you. She should absolutely be pointing the gun already. It is a little bit of a standoff, isn't it? But I do like the composition as well. I was going to have like multiple dinosaurs, but or maybe I will. I don't know. I kind of want to work on the scene a bit more and add more to it. But for something like this, it was always going to be quite simple. But the trick was generating the character from a game perspective with the over-the-shoulder camera, getting that at the right angle, getting the character looking right, and then in the scene, just doing what I can to like add loads of bells and whistles to kind of make it better than it was. So there we go. Okay, yeah, so we've got darken the character. She's way too bright at the minute, of course. Yeah, so lots of darkening. Balancing the color, because the whole thing has got like this bluey green vibe. And then, yeah, we've got some of the highlights over here. So just brushing in some hair, a few select hairs, so you've kind of got those highlights. Just adding, oops, sorry. There we go. Adding a fog layer to her as well, so she's being affected by the fog, or the mist, or the atmosphere, whatever's going on in this crazy room. Okay, so she's got a red light added there. That will probably make more sense in a minute, because I've got my entire effects folder. And then there we go. So I've got rid of the highlight on the right side of the gun and I've added it to the left so it kind of matches where the light is actually coming from. Okay, effects. As you can see, this does quite a lot. And this is probably my favorite folder to turn off and on. There's a few in here. The whole thing was just too dark. Brightness and contrast adjustment layer is such an underrated win. If something looks too dark, just drag this up. And it's just, it's flipping brilliant. I love that one. Such a good adjustment there. The red glow for some of the lights. Again, it's just a solid red adjustment layer. You can change the blending mode if you want, but you can easily just brush in red. Obviously, that's very, very strong, but you can brush in lots of red and make it as subtle as you want and just have red wherever you like. We've got some for the lights as well. Again, this is just using a default brush. Just that little bit of brushing. The more you brush over these areas, the brighter it's going to be. Got that one in the back there. You see the difference that makes. Ciao. It just makes everything a bit more epic. And we've got the green one. She's got that watch on, which I don't like. I need to rework that. But there is a green light coming off the watch, which would probably make more sense if I show you this, actually. Yeah, there was an original version of this. I spent ages working on this, and then I got rid of it. There was another version of her on the start screen. But then once I started working on the actual in-game screen, I thought, this is just a little bit too much, kind of having her on both. I wanted the start screen to be a bit more subtle. So that's what it did look like. And I do love this image, the way the kind of light catches her hair, the expression, the clothing is just perfect on this one. I really do like that. And maybe I'll use that for something else, but yeah, it just felt a little bit... What are you doing? Just felt a bit more kind of better having it a little bit more minimal and mysterious. Well, what is it? You want attention? Why don't you come and plonk yourself here? Hmm? He always does this when I'm live. Don't you? I did a UI for an indie studio, but I used Illustrator. Yeah, Illustrator, if it's like an indie game, I imagine that'd be probably the best one to go for sure. It depends on the style you're going for. Use a sniper. Yeah. Oh yeah, this isn't finished by any means. Yeah, so that one there, that would be a pretty straightforward change. So if I wanted to kind of change the color of that light on the floor, how would I do it? Usually if you want to make something red go a bit more yellow, you can just adjust it with a hue and saturation layer and then mask it and then just brush it in. Obviously you don't want to brush in the other parts of the floor, but it's a really quick and easy way to just change the color of something. And then once you've done the mask, if you want to desaturate it a bit and kind of make it less yellowy, you can do that, or more yellow. No, don't do that. You can do that. So even the AI sort of generation stuff, I'm kind of taking it with a grain of salt. It's generated that scene for me, which kind of makes it good. It makes it easy to kind of still work on this, still get my Photoshop fix, but I can set this up pretty quickly rather than spending weeks trying to build this entire scene or whatever in 3D. And then I can just get stuck in with the UI stuff. So there's the kind of final camera raw adjustment layer. So boom, that is like an in-game shot. And then we've got the UI stuff over the top. Now this UI at the minute, it's very much a work in progress because it's a little bit close to the Resident Evil UI. It's a little bit close to home at the minute, so I don't want it to be like just sort of copying, You're a funny cat, aren't you? You are a funny cat. But I still want it to be kind of clean as well. The whole game actually it is a little bit sci-fi. So I do want it to have like an element of that in there. So if I jump into Illustrator, there's certain parts of the UI that I was trying to work on. So like some sort of radial menu. And hexagons are always an absolute win for sci-fi. Hexagons can be very useful for creating a sci-fi looking thing. If you need the buttons as well, these are PlayStation, but you can create Xbox ones just as easy, or PC, you've got the mouse keys. These are very straightforward to create. Hey, Alana, how you doing? But if anyone is thinking of entering the competition, or you've got questions, or I feel like I get the impression some people are a bit like, oh my goodness, where do I start? Like it's quite overwhelming. But there's so many different types of video game. Like you could even do like a Game Boy one, like Game Boys back in the day. Everyone knows a Game Boy. You could do something more pixel based if you wanted. I'm just trying to get a good shot. Will you be quiet? Come on, be quiet. Jeez. Yeah, so you could do something a bit more pixel based if you wanted. And draw it with like a very stylized Mario style art style. It doesn't have to be like a modern crazy game, like a remake like I'm doing. There's loads of different styles of game. In fact, maybe video game design styles. Yeah. Oh, I mean, look at this. Yeah, great examples here. Yeah, so something like that. You'd be better off in Illustrator. You wouldn't do this in Figma. I mean, you could, but you probably shouldn't. Oh, this is quite handy. Different game art styles, how to choose the right one for your game. Oh, that is quite handy. Yeah, loads and loads of different styles. This one's a little bit more retro. Kind of very Stardew Valley. Hey, Raquel. How's it going? How do I get involved? When's the deadline? Actually, that's a good question. What day is it? I don't usually stream on a Saturday, so my days are all wonky. 15th of February. Let me check. I'm pretty sure this one's 3 weeks. We got a 3 week competition. Right, I'm pretty sure the deadline is Thursday the 27th of February. How do you do the UI animation? Oh yeah, no, I'm not using a game engine, Adam. It's all going to be After Effects, so it's going to be very much a concept. Probably, I think you could probably think of it like I'm putting together a concept that I would pitch to someone or an investor, or I would say, hey, I've got this great idea for a game. This is my idea, and I would try and sell it as much as I can without building the game. So what I'm probably going to do for this, once I've finished the menu design, if I've got this health bar here, it probably will be animating. I'll probably have someone cycling through the menu. All of that's going to be done in After Effects. And it will be someone will be interacting with the menu. So it kind of just helps me sell the concept a bit more. There will be probably some tense music. There'll be sound effects as people are moving around the UI. So, you boop, 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 that kind of stuff. Different sound effects. Envato Elements is where I'm going to be getting all of them from. So there's a link in the description if you're interested in that. Yeah, invaluable for this kind of stuff. I might make some of the lights flicker. So turn it into more of a cinematograph where the image is a still image, but parts of the image animate. So maybe some of the lights will be kind of glowing. Lights will be flickering. Yeah. Just trying to kind of make it look as cool as possible. I think it will, yeah. I think it will. And what's the font I've gone for? Yeah, font choice is obviously quite important. I've gone for Sui Generis. I don't know how you say that. Sui Generis? I don't know. But yeah, it's perfect sort of sci-fi font. Really loving that one. And I think it's paired with Outfit. Yeah, there we go. Outfit's pretty good UI font. Lots of different weights for Outfit as well. But it's the same. Actually, no, I don't know what font I've used for that. For the kind of logo. This cat is such an attention seeker. I'm thinking of GTA. Oh my god, yes, do it. Yeah, what would you do? Would you do like GTA 1 and 2, the kind of top-down style? Or would you try something like more modern? Or your own take on GTA 6? I don't know. I think that's one of the good things about UI as well. Sorry, not UI. Using AI, sometimes AI can generate things that look a bit more gamey. They don't always look realistic, which kind of does lend itself perfectly for this because you can almost generate like a screenshot from the game, as long as you can get the camera angle right. You know, whether it's the third person or first person or whatever. But yeah, I'm looking forward to playing around with this one with music. The title screen, I think, is going to look really good. When it's subtle here, but once it's moving and there's music and the camera zooming in slowly, and I'm going to try and make something run across the screen. I want something to just run across very quickly with a dinosaur sound effect. Maybe in the foreground, actually. I feel like that would be really cool. And I might have it run in front of the logo. If I can pull that off, it will look really, really good. Looks really good. Oh, thank you, Nikki. Thanks, Raquel. I'm working on some ideas. Hollow Knight, yes. Monument Valley, what's that? That does sound familiar. Oh, okay. Let's look up Monument Valley. What's that? Wow. Oh, that is cool. I love that style. Yeah, good luck designing that in Figma. Oh, wow, that is so cool. Oh, I love that. Yes, I'm getting, yeah. Oh, like an isometric platformer. Oh, that looks well good. Different levels. Very cool. Hollow Knight as well. I've not played this, but I've played some of Hollow Knight. Again, yeah, very interesting art style, actually. The stuff in the background, it looks a little bit more, at least in this example, kind of more realistic and blurred out, and then you've got the cartoon style up front. Yeah, it looks very like multi-layered. That's the new one they're working on, Silk Song. Yeah. Yeah, I think this competition's very, very creative. Very, I think, yeah, doing a bit of drawing, characters and things. I think it could be very creative. Alto's Adventure. Let's have a look at that. Oh wow. Yeah, so it's quite open and it's quite overwhelming. I think at first, oh, I love that shot. Oh yeah, the composition of that is amazing. Again, that's like very layered. Quite simple when you break it down. Love that. I'm going to screenshot that. Wouldn't mind trying my own version of that, actually. So cool. They look amazing. That's so good. Yeah, so I think if you're not sure what sort of game style you want to go for, or you're feeling a bit overwhelmed, I would probably just do a search for video games and just search a whole bunch of video game styles, and just build up like a mood board of different styles, find one you like, and then use that as inspiration. Because having this to kind of refer back to has just been invaluable throughout the process, as I'm working on this. But yeah, I have tried a few different UIs. I did this in Illustrator rather than Photoshop, just because it's so much easier to work with shapes and vectors and things. But yeah, I feel like this was a bit over the top. I don't know. I might go back to it, because my design at the minute is a bit close to the Resident Evil 2's kind of layout in general. It looks different, but it's the same layout, so it's not very creative. So I feel like I might go back to something like this, but it's trying to not make it too overcomplicated. Sorry, the cat's just... You got the zoomies? Yeah, he's found a bit of string he's playing with. Eli's calling me speaks to my soul. Yeah. But no, it's been a lot of fun working on this one so far. We've got just under 2 weeks left. So, what, 12 days, I think, till the deadline. So if you are thinking of entering, then here is the link to join the community. And then you've got all the details about the do's, the don'ts. Just double, triple check the rules, because there's very specific uses for the AI stuff. So that the UI needs to be, that's where like a lot of the judging is going to be, the UI. But it is good to be able to kind of generate different parts for the design, whether it's characters or, you know, like you could spend weeks creating characters and artwork before you even get to the UI. It's just not realistic, you know. Not at least for a little competition like this, you know. If it was like a proper, if you're doing this for a proper game, yeah, for sure you'd do that. You'd hire people to do that. But I think for this, it's very useful to kind of be able to generate certain bits. Yeah, we're good. Thanks, Raquel. We're good. We're recovered now. Yeah, we went. Where did we go yesterday? Yeah, we went out for Valentine's Day, and we went to a place called Bourton on the Water in the UK. Just absolutely beautiful place, lovely place. But they've got a burger place there. Poppy's obsessed with burgers, and they've got this burger place, and it's ridiculous. And they literally, the place is called Smith's in Bourton on the Water, and they came third in the whole country for best burger in a recent competition. I think it was a few days ago. They won third place in the whole of the UK. And yeah, and they won it with their signature burger. I think it was called Mr. P or something was the name of the burger. And I went and had that yesterday. Oh my god, it was insane. It was ridiculous. As far as a burger goes, it was the best burger I've ever had. And I'm normally like a chicken burger kind of guy. They didn't have any chicken. I was like, right, let's try the signature then. Oh my goodness, it was just ridiculous. It was so good. I did unfortunately manage to drop some mayo in my coffee that I had to try and fish out. But apart from that, the burger was just absolutely ridiculous. How to join the competitions? Yeah, so to join the competition, what you got to do is did I post a link? No, I think I was going to post the link. Yeah, this is where you can join the community. It's completely free to join. Obviously, if you enroll in a course, you get access to the members only area where there's different bits and pieces. But anyone can join here for free and chat and hang out, whatever. But also, this is where the competition details are, and this is where you would enter as well. So all the details you need are in the competition channel in the Discord. Crisis weapon and perk selection menu was awesome. Oh, I can't remember that. I remember Crisis though. Wasn't oh no. Weapon selection. Oh no, I'm thinking of the attachments where you kind of bring it up in front of you. What was weapon selection? Was it? Is it this one? Oh, what? Where you just bring it up there and then bash the button? Is that the one? Oh, Crisis. Crisis was ahead of its time, I think, the original one. That came out like I was in school when Crisis came out. I must have been about 16, 17. Oh yeah, there's another good weapon selection UI. That is quite cool, actually. Oh, and that does look very sci-fi. Oh, could I borrow that? Ah, borrow slash steal. Oh yeah, join the community. Come on, Alana, in you come. Oh yeah, Affinity. Affinity would be very good actually, because Affinity's designing isometric with Affinity is, I think, generally a lot easier than Illustrator. You can just flick on an isometric grid, and I feel like the snapping is a bit more precise. Yeah, I would probably go Affinity for the isometric one. I think. Yeah, I do love that. That style Raquel is so cool. Oh yeah, the attachment one. Yeah, where is it? Yeah, it was great, wasn't it? Keeps you fully in game as well. You literally all you do is you just yeah, you bring the gun up in front of you, and then you can just pick what you want, customize your gun there and then without having to go into some weapon screen or whatever that kind of takes you out of the game. Yeah, it's quite different. It's very similar but different. Thinking about UI design for a game rather than like a website or an app or something. That's what I've spent my career doing is websites and apps. I've not done like a well, I don't think I've ever done any video game design that I didn't choose to do myself. I would have loved to, but it's just yeah, it was always a bit more sort of corporate business centered. My a lot of my design work. Splinter Cell. Let's have a look at that. I can't even remember you. Oh, this would be a good one for me to actually research a bit more. Yeah, obviously very kind of sci-fi with all the kind of gadgets and bits and pieces. Yeah. Yeah, I think that would be the best thing if you're unsure where to start is to look at games out there, pick a style you like, and even if you're not massively into video games, like I'm sure a lot of people aren't, but like the one that Raquel said, oh, what was it? Monument Valley. This is almost more like art, so you could do something that is less gamey and that is more artistic, more design oriented if you wanted to. As long as there is like the UI element in there, as long as it does have like some element of UI design. Even if the UI design is kind of part of the game itself. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, the snapping is good in Affinity. Competition section. It's on the left hand side. So it's right at the bottom. It says UI design competition. Quake. Oh my god, I remember Quake. Oh yeah, I'm proper back in school now. We're going back to the days of Quake. Yeah, you're right. Actually, GTA. Yeah, the radial menu. There's some games that have done radial menus really well, and some that have just done a terrible job. And I don't know how that's happened because the radial menu is something that's been done so many times. People have nailed it, and then I think sometimes people try to kind of reinvent the wheel. Ha, no pun intended. Oh, goodness me. What is that? Oh, is that showing something else? Yeah, GTA have absolutely smashed it here. It's so easy to use. Oh my god, there's so many radial menus. Yeah, and I've played some games where it's done really well. It's really responsive, and some games where it's just diabolical. And if you wanted to do something more icon based, again, you might do this in Illustrator. You could do the icons of the weapons as well. So if you want to create a radial menu, you could we'll do a circle. Uh-oh, he's back. He's back. So we'll start with a circle. Yeah, I know you're there. I know. He's breathing heavily. It's all right. I'm only one step away. You can come a bit closer. Yeah, put the stylus on your head. Nice. Good spray. Right. There's a few different ways to do this. I'm just trying to think how I did this. There's definitely some good ways and some not so good ways. So I'm going to see if I can remember how to do it. Okay, right. We've got a circle, first of all. Doo-doo-doo. Let's stick a copy over here, just in case things go wrong. And we'll set the stroke weight to... Let's make it 6, just so everyone can see what I'm doing. And if I wanted to divide that into, let's go 5 sections, just to make it a bit of a weird number. Right, so first of all, what I would do, let's think about this, is I'll probably... Here we go. Snap that to the center with the direct selection tool. So I've just got this one line. I'm going to extend it outside the circle. And then I want to do some math. So select this object, press R for the rotate tool. Now you've got to hold down Alt or Option and click on that center point. And if you hold down Alt or Option and click, it brings up this window. So that's what we want. And I'm going to go 360 degrees / which is divide 5. Press tab and it will give me that value. Now you want to click on copy and then press Command or Control D to repeat that. You can see it's now split it into 5. You could do it for 7, 8, 6, whatever, and it will divide that into the correct number of sides. Now, I want to split this with a gap. So how am I going to do that? Let's make another copy. We'll keep that as a backup again just before I start working destructively. It's always a good idea. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of these lines. I'm going to expand these so they're no longer a stroke. They now are a shape with a solid fill. And I'm going to combine the geometry together with unite. So this is now just one big shape. And if I've got the circle underneath, in fact, let's change the color just so we can see what I'm doing, make it a bit easier. If I subtract that from the shape underneath, you can see it does appear to butcher things a little bit. But if I use the direct selection tool to delete all of these center points, group everything now, you can see now I've got all of these pieces. They're still strokes, which is perfect because I can still edit the weight, which is good. But I've also got the gap in between all of them. Now, if you want to make the gap thicker, just make the stroke weight of all of this thicker as well. And then what I can do is, you know, if you're animating it, you can drop the opacity down. And then you can set it. I'm just rotating it now, but you can choose which one is like the active one that someone's hovering over. Oh, Gaurav used to play Quake as well. Haha. Oh, you got it on Steam. Oh, nice. Ah, Far Cry 3 had a good radio menu. Hmm. Oh, Command and Conquer, Paul. Gosh, let's go back a few years. Command and Conquer. Was it the side menu you said? Are we talking OG Command and Conquer? This one. It's a bit pixelated, but oh yeah, no, that's a better one. You can see it there. Oh man, I miss being younger. I remember, oh, so many good games from like 20 years ago, like Warcraft 3. I used to love that. Let's have a look at Warcraft 3. This is like a trip down memory lane, this is. The original, not the remastered rubbish. Oh, man. So creative. That it was just such a creative UI. I feel like some games nowadays they've just gone too modern. Everything's tried to just be super clean and perfect, and it's just you lose some of that character. Oh man. It's like going back in time 20 years for me. I feel so flipping nostalgic right now. Used to love this game. Far Cry, was it Far Cry 3 you said? That was that. I think that's probably my favorite. That was the best. Uh, yeah, this guy. I can't remember. He was in Better Call Saul. Michael Mando, that's it. Flipping brilliant in Better Call Saul, but he was the or one of the main antagonists in Far Cry, and he was flipping brilliant. Radio menu. I can't remember it. Was it like GTA? I feel like it was kind of similar. Yeah. Yeah, literally. I think, yeah, very similar to GTA. I think some of the best radio menus are the ones that are just, you press the button, it's responsive, and you can just pick what you want, let go, done. Dishonored. Oh, Dishonored's got an amazing art style. Um, in fact, actually, yeah. Oh, flipping heck, yeah, Dishonored. Look at that. Again, just to reinforce, this is why I wouldn't use Figma. Look at, yeah, so cool. Especially the icons as well. In fact, even just looking at these now, I feel like mine's boring. My one's way too boring. I need to work on mine and make it a bit not creative for the sake of it being creative, but you can see here they've got the same radio menu as GTA or Far Cry. Same thing, but it just looks flipping awesome. The art style fits with the game. The icons are just almost like distressed and chipped away. The health bars stand out. The health and the whatever the blue is. I can't remember what it was, energy or something. They stand out way more, which is good. In fact, Dishonored, just in general. Yeah, Dishonored in general had a very cool art style. Yeah, I can't show you the animation obviously, but even the way the menu's loaded, this menu, you see every menu thing's got a different font. Normally that would be like, what are you doing? I don't think I've ever seen another game do that. A different font for every menu option. And normally I would hate that, but the way the menu comes together with the art style and everything, almost very kind of layered. It's like it. I mean, this is on Behance. I don't. Oh, actually, no. I don't know if that's someone's concept. Hang on. I'll just check. That might be someone's design concept. I don't think it is though. I think it is actually very. Oh, sorry. That was no. Yeah, no. That is the real thing. Okay. This is Dishonored 1, so a bit more structured. Yeah, that was a crazy example. I've never seen a design do that. Use a different font for every menu item. Days Gone. I'm gonna guess it's very, very similar as a weapon wheel. Uh, I, oh yeah, I remember this one. I didn't like it as much. I like that it's clean. I think what was it? I think it was when it came to putting on suppressors and things, it got a bit convoluted in the menu. So you go onto the pistol and then you have to press something else and to either craft or equip suppressors. And I felt it just wasn't quite as intuitive as other ones. It was fine once I got used to it, but Heavy Rain, I've not played that one. I've heard of it though. But just while we're on Days Gone, they did something insane with the. In fact, actually, it was usability wise, it was horrific. I hated it, utterly hated it. Yeah, the inventory menu, very creative, very cool, but a flipping nightmare to use. I absolutely hated it. In fact, one thing I have thought about doing is when I do design review is reviewing video games as I'm playing them. I haven't figured out how to make that work yet, but I got a lot to say about video games. Some have got great UI and some have got just awful UI that looks good, but it's just, yeah, it was like a full screen UI and you could kind of go different directions, up or right or down, to select different bits. But in terms of trying to keep track of where the heck I was within the UI, it was just flipping diabolical. But it does look visually very cool. So it's kind of balancing the usability of something with the visuals. And sometimes I think companies can go either way with it. Let's look up Heavy Rain. Oh, wow. Oh, of course. Is this the same team that did like Beyond Two Souls, Detroit Become Human, that kind of stuff? Yeah, it's got to be. Yeah, so the UI is very interactive with the environment. There are other games were kind of like this as well. So someone would like, go to punch you or something, and then you'd have like triangle pop up next to your character's head, and you'd have to press it to dodge at the right time. Last of Us. Can't remember that. Like the Last of Us starting. Oh, what, this one? Yeah, and I think as well, even something like this, the menu aspect of it, the UI element is very, very simple. But if I were doing this, and I wanted to have like if I was entering the competition and I wanted to have like a simple, clean UI, obviously there's not a lot to this in terms of the UI. So I would then put that effort into doing something with this. So rather than just necessarily, for example, you could generate that entire thing in AI. You could slap some text on and you could call it a day. But if you were instead to generate different stock assets, so the window, the ivy, the curtains, generate different elements, composite that together, add some sound effects, a few particles, maybe a butterfly flying past the window, and animate it. If you can demonstrate that and show your like process as well, so just show the process. If you've put a lot of work into it and you've composited all this stuff, show that in your entry, show the process, show some screenshots and bits of other things. You get more points for that rather than just like a generation and then plonking some text on there. Ivy growing, yeah. Ugh. That would be really cool. I mean, the way that I'd probably do that is you'd have to have one string of ivy as a separate image. I mean, that's the thing as well. If you were to generate those assets and composite them together, you've got them on separate layers, so you could do something more creative with them. You could have the scene like come in a layered style, but yeah, you could even have edit it in After Effects, so the ivy is kind of like revealed gradually. Oh no. No, I have heard about Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. I've seen the game, I've heard about it. I wouldn't play it if you paid me. Literally, if they paid me to play it, I wouldn't play it. I wouldn't commit the time to it. I don't even want to look at this. Oh, yeah. I think I remember seeing when this came out, people reviewed it and they were like, "What is this UI?" Yeah. Oh, it's just flipping awful. And I think this is the problem when you've got a lot of big companies. There's a lot of big companies. There's people in big companies that think they know something, and their opinion should mean something because they're a more senior position. But in reality, they just need to shut up and let the people who know what they're doing actually do it well. And I think the best, yeah, this is just a flippant mess. Yeah, and in reality, some of the best UIs and the best, most creative games come from the small studios, or the studios that are just led with someone who has a vision, and it's just not it's not like a pile in of what is it, too many, what's the thing, too many chefs, not enough something or others, you know what I'm saying. Too many, I can't remember the bloody quote, too many cooks, not enough waiters, I can't remember. Someone please correct me. Sniper Ghost Warrior has kind of a similar weapon wheel, really nice UI when shooting. Okay. Yeah, so many of these big companies screw up their UI because they've just got too many people looking at it, too many people signing it off that have got no business signing off anything because they know flipping nothing about video games. But hey, corporate. Too many cooks in the kitchen. Yeah, thank you. Too many cooks spoil the broth. Thank you, Rob. Thank you. Yeah. Please break down the detail of good UI versus bad UI. Oh, well, I think without a specific example, speaking in general terms, a good UI should be intuitive. Some of the best UIs that I've used personally, and this is probably, well, no, this applies to video games as well, but more from like a software point of view, is where I opened up the software and I knew how to use it straight away. I didn't need to go looking stuff up. I remember the first time I used Figma, I was very impressed with how intuitive it was. Um, Coming from other Adobe stuff and never using Figma before, I acutely remember it just did what I thought it would do. And then when I tried doing something specific, like adding a gradient and doing this and doing that, it just worked exactly how I would expect it to work. It was just very intuitively designed. The whole UI is very clean and very simple. It's not overcomplicated, but it is still powerful. So they've struck an amazing balance there. But Affinity Designer as well, another one, obviously coming from the Adobe suite, and not just good UI design, but good decision making. So if I whip up, have I got Affinity? Yeah. Yeah, very good decision making, because they've been smart and they've made a lot of their keyboard shortcuts very, very similar in most cases to Adobe. So people coming from Adobe, they can just jump straight in. So if I make a new document, so many of the keyboard shortcuts are exactly the same. There used to be that, well, I don't know, maybe there still is. There was a UI design tool called Sketch. Any of you use that? Yeah, too many cooks spoil the broth. Thank you, Kerry. Yeah, and Sketch. I remember trying to use that. What was I coming from? I think when Adobe XD launched, it was very light on features, and they definitely added more over time. But at the very beginning, it didn't even have some pretty fundamental stuff. And Sketch was way ahead. Sketch had this, it had that. It was really good. But some of the keyboard shortcuts in Sketch were horrific, and I can't remember what they were. I think it was like, V. V is your main tool, your move tool. Yeah. So I start drawing something, you press V, boom, back to the move tool. Very intuitive. I think in Sketch, V was the pen tool from memory. We're going back quite a few years here, so don't quote me on that. I couldn't get to grips with it. There were other things as well. Just the difference from the Adobe stuff, I couldn't get used to it. It used to drive me insane. And yeah, I don't even know if that's still around anymore. I think it was Mac only at the time, but again, this is going back quite a while. Whereas this is just so intuitive. It behaves how I would expect it to behave. If I press B, what am I getting? A brush tool. Shocker. G. Oh, that's the gradient tool. Whoa, look at that. And not to mention the gradient tool. I mean, look at this. This is what Illustrator needs. Look at this. Not only is this stupid responsive. Go away. Look at that speed. Really responsive. The gradient tool, it just doesn't have all the BS floating around it. It's just, yeah, it's just really, really good. It just works kind of how you'd expect it to work. In fact, this works exactly like how Adobe works. Alt or Option, break the anchor point, or you can just bend them both. Yeah, so that's one thing Affinity did very, very well. If they were trying to pinch a few customers for Adobe, they make that process as seamless as possible. And again, this is very, very powerful, but the whole UI is very easy to understand. It's even color coordinated to break apart different features. And then if you hop into Affinity Photo or Publisher, you've got basically the same UI. You've got this same sort of setup here on the right. Obviously different tools, but the whole thing feels familiar. So you can just hop between the different apps very, very seamlessly. Yeah, okay, that's why I use the iPhone. The UI is great. That's one reason why I've always used Mac OS. Not just because I've had fewer problems. I've used both for like years, but I always found that I had fewer problems with Mac OS. And when I'm working, I don't want problems. It was real simple. I don't want to be dealing with a computer virus or like, yeah, just any of that rubbish. Things working or going weird. I get more problems with, it's not perfect with Mac OS, but I get more problems on Windows that don't exist on Mac OS. And so when I'm trying to work, I want the thing that's going to give me less problems. But the UI as well. The UI as well. Like, oh my goodness, I was screaming at Windows to have a nice UI back as far as like Windows, I don't know, 7, 8. I was just like, please make this look better. Like Mac was always just so much cleaner. And even 10, oh, what a flipping mess. What was, like, just for goodness sake, Windows. Like, it was flipping awful. 11 visually looks better. It's not quite there in terms of the actual user experience, I don't think. There's definitely some stuff they could improve to make it better, and Microsoft still does every now and then Microsoft. But the actual visual side of it is nicer. They've got better micro interactions. When you click on things and things move up and down, it just looks a little bit nicer. The icons, the windows, they've in Windows 10, oh my goodness, rant mode activated. Even the Finder window, the equivalent in Windows, like it was just this obviously looks nice and clean. My locations, tag colors, and just a clean UI along the top. I gotta show you. I gotta show you before I start ranting. Oh god, what is this mess? Right, okay. We'll do a Windows 10 11 comparison. But again, it's the same thing. You got a big company, you got too many cooks. Whereas if they actually, ironically, just had maybe like a team of 2 seasoned designers work on a UI, and they just let them get on with it, it would have looked probably more like Windows 11 a lot sooner. I'm just trying to find a window. Yeah, that's Windows 11, I think. Oh. Right, so here's Windows 10. Sorry if you can't see it. I'll try and make it a bit bigger. And then I think this one is Windows. I'm pretty sure this is Windows 11. So this one on the left, we've got, I mean, it not only, I mean, just, come on, Dan, don't rant. I'm going to get this in Photoshop. Yeah, so creative. You asked about good UI design. We're gonna break it down. We're gonna use Windows as the example. And make an example of Windows. Because I clearly got some steam I need to let off. Right, where is 11? Right, so this is Windows 10. We're not even going to go on to 7, and no one talks about Windows 8. Windows 8, we don't even discuss that abomination. But yeah, in terms of this one, this just looks crap. What is this? What is this spacing? Look at this, top and bottom. What is going on here? That should at least be central. And if you have them free floating like that, fine. Yeah, the spacing's probably a bit wide, but you know, whatever. But the fact that it's just floating up the top there, that's just lazy. We've got all these little icons over here. I don't even know what any of this means. This double arrow thing, dividers, it's just an absolute flipping mess. Could we just get rid of this, clean it up, one icon, File Explorer, boom, done. This whole menu, this whole block here, I'm going to get red. Red for frustration. This is just horrific. I don't know what they were thinking with this. It's just very useful features, but just it looks diabolical. There's no consistency whatsoever to this absolute abomination. But look, you've got these icons here that are like floating in the middle of nowhere. You've got this random clipboard bit centrally aligned, but then you've got some left aligned menu here. There's no divider between any of it, so it all just looks like it's floating in some garbled mess. We've got this bit here. Oh, it's just every section's got a different format, and the alignment is just all over the place. Different icon sizes, different styles. It's just diabolical. Even here, look at this. The icon's not even central. It's like hugging the bottom. Same with the text. You're a few pixels off there. Shift it up. These details matter. This box is too small. It should have some degree of padding. And the square edges, like, come on. Like, we're in the 21st century now. Round off those corners. Just make it look a little bit more elegant, for goodness sake. Yeah, look at this icon. This is like a multi-billion-dollar company, and they've got people that haven't even centered the icon properly. What is happening here? This is just unacceptable. Look at this crap. The boxes aren't even the same height. Like, what is this? This icon, not central. The arrow pointing down, not central. It's just... yeah, it's a horrific lack of attention to detail. Obviously bugs me more than most because, you know, I do focus on the details and I do think they're super important. But however this was, whether it was designed like this or just badly coded by the developers, I don't know. But it's a horrific lack of attention to detail. Whoever's set this up, coded it, whatever, I don't really know. When I used to work for a company, we would design things to the pixel, and the devs wouldn't always code them that way. The devs didn't have the same eye for detail that the designers did. So they would code it and go, it doesn't matter, it's fine. It's like, well, no, this sort of detail does matter. Apple understood this and have understood this for decades. That's why their UIs have always been way, way better. They have an appreciation of those tiny details. You can just see it in their UIs. Even though they kind of mess it up sometimes from a user experience point of view, the UI has always been top notch. Hey, Andrea. How's it going? These pins, just very, very dark, very distracting, should be a bit lighter, way too close to the edge. This box here, what is this? What is that thing? Like, if you're going to highlight something, it should be a little bit further away so there's a bit more padding on the left and the right, or just have it line up with this line here. So having that tiny gap there is just no. Anything else to rant about? The whole thing just looks crap. It's square. We've got some settings options like for switching between different views down here, just chucked in the bottom right, which is kind of just a weird, not very intuitive random placement. And the whole thing just looks dated. It looks old and dated and just... it looks like it was designed by lots of people that had feedback. And then feedback, oh yeah, we need to get this in, we need to get that up here. Oh yeah, we need to add this and this. And all of a sudden it's just like, nope. Now if we contrast that to Windows 11, they finally got their act together. We've got some rounded off corners, which is nice. We've got the background blurring through the taskbar. So there's that kind of synergy with the rest of the interface. You know, whatever's behind it gets blurred a little bit. We've just gone for the icon with the text. No crazy thing. We've cleaned up that whole menu. Look, we've gone from this total load of rubbish to one strip, cleanly spaced out. Icons are centered. Almost. Text is a few pixels off. Too low, but that's fine. We'll let you off. Yeah. That icon is slightly too big. But apart from that, we are nitpicking here. Yeah, and then all those extra options, you can just chuck them away in a more menu. The home icon is finally centered with an acceptable amount of padding on the left side. Same down here. Pins are smaller, which is great. So they've still got that dark color, but they're much smaller, so they're less distracting. Rounded corners on the UI. The icons look a bit nicer. The folders use gradients. They just look a bit more modern. And the alignment here is still slightly off by a pixel or two. these icons are a pixel too high, that one's a pixel too low, but yeah, generally a big improvement. These ones are still floating up here. I don't know why they're doing that. I really don't know why that is not centered and brought down. It works just fine for Mac OS, but they want to float them high. That's fine. The whole thing just looks much, much cleaner. And they've still got that down there, but it's pretty minimal. It's not like these icons just look shit. They look really crap. They look so awful. Whereas at least these are just, they've gone with that linear style. So it's not too distracting. Yeah, so a big improvement from a visual point of view. To the point where I'd say I don't actually mind it. It's okay. That happens with clients at the company I work for too. Some highly valuable companies don't invest in design and end up looking dreadful. I know, yeah, I don't understand it. I think it's just, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I think too many decision makers, too much of a like corporate process. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, there's definitely something. Like I think pretty much my entire career, like, and you notice this more when it's your job as well. Like I've been just like yelling at bad UI design, and I've just never really understood how these companies with billions of dollars make these colossal mistakes. But it's just because, it's because there's people in suits that think they know better. That's what I learned working at well, at least one company. You could say it's the designers or the talent as well, but then you've got the designers, the devs, the corporates. There's like a process there, and there's a lot of places where things can go wrong. And I think that's why when you've got smaller companies, whether it's an indie game dev or just a small company, usually in a small company or a startup or something, everyone has their role, and you have like one or maybe two designers. It's a smaller team, and you can just. What are you doing, cat? Stop messing with my track. Sorry, that's the cat on the trackpad. He's just put his foot on the on the trackpad, and you can just get more done. And you just it's just more creative, less people to please, and boxes to tick, and you just end up with a better product. Jimmy, how you doing, my friend? Good morning, beautiful and sexy people. Oh, not ready for that compliment, Jimmy. Oh, steady on. It's only 10 o'clock. Oh, no, it's not. It's 12. Oh, goodness me. Go on, then. I'll take it. What a nice surprise to see you live now. I hope you're doing good. Yeah, we're all good, man. How are you? Oh, this cat is ridiculous. It's the evening here, is it? Whereabouts are you? My point is the guy who designed the Pepsi logo got millions of dollars for just small change. I mean, it's just silly, really. That is just silly. Is this the new Pepsi logo? Yeah, I mean, none of it really makes any sense, does it? What's this cat doing? What is this cat doing, eh? You are such a baby. Right. Does anyone have any other questions about UI or the UI competition, or things that I could talk about or show you that would help you with your entry if you're thinking of entering the competition? Yeah, I'm gonna definitely work on this because I want to have the UI a bit more creative. It's a bit too similar to the current UI at the minute. But yeah, I was full steam ahead on this, and then I got sick, and it kind of slowed my progress down a little bit. So I'm going to try and get all this finished. I've obviously got all the new courses to record and edit for the launch day as well. So I'm going to be a busy bee. Oh, speaking of which, courses. I haven't even mentioned them yet. Let me find the right link. Dansky courses live. Yeah, thank you so much to everyone who either enrolled or pre-ordered the new and existing courses. Oh yeah, I can't say thank you enough. It means the world to me. It's been amazing. It's been so good. So if you do want to check out my courses, I've got the beginner to intermediates for Photoshop and Illustrator. They're available now. And then I've got the new masterclasses for Photoshop and Illustrator launching 15th of March for Photoshop and then the 30th of April for Illustrator. And yeah, I'm excited. Those masterclasses they're gonna teach the best of what I can teach with the software. They're gonna go all in, just everything that I can. Yeah, literally the best of what I can teach. So yeah, I'm looking forward to them. I'm gonna watch this stream from the beginning. Excellent. I'm doing good, thank you. Full on preparing for a day of video tutorial recording, and then celebrate a bit. My student became national champion yesterday. Ooh, nice. National champion. What was that for? Oh yeah, I got the new my Dansky hat that Poppy got me. She ordered this like 2 months ago, and then it finally arrived the other day, and it's just I love it. I love it. I do. Make more streams, Dan. Oh yeah, we'll get back. We'll get back to the regular ones for sure. I think we'll keep it to the Monday and the Wednesday. I think I'll be honest. I think during the bit where I'm going to be recording and editing the course lessons, it's going to get quite intensive. This hat is hot. Nice. Yeah, it's going to be pretty full on. So yeah, I think once those courses are done, I can take a breather and then get back to streaming. I quite enjoyed doing the morning streams as well, but I think during the course period, which is now coming up, we'll have to keep it to the Monday and the Wednesdays. I'll just try and do as many as I can without completely overloading my brain. We need to do a design review as well. It's been a long time. Look at you big baby, aren't you? You big baby. You funny boy, aren't you? You say hello, Crumble. He's such a baby, this cat. Look at him. Look at him. Big baby, aren't you? Big moody bum. Aren't you? You big moody bum. Shh. You funny boy. Yeah, he's ridiculous, Andrea, honestly. He's literally like a teddy bear. Raquel, right, Raquel, I literally got a picture of him looking at me the other day. And you could just, Poppy just looked at it and she was like, Dan, that cat actually loves you. Like, let me see if I can find it. Oh, where is it? This was it. All right, we were at the top of the stairs because he follows me upstairs. And I just stood above him and just said, right, come on then, down we go, downstairs. And he just looked at me. He turned around and looked at me like that. I mean, it just says it all, really, doesn't it? I mean, look at it. Look, he's just a ragdoll teddy. Oh. Ridiculous. Look at this thing. He's just like a big blob, aren't you? Aren't you? Hmm? You're a big blob that just wants to be loved. I have a few friends who are asking about Photoshop, and I gave them your reference. Said he's the master. Oh, it's very kind of you. And he just explains complex things with ease. They'll be joining the Photoshop masterclass. Oh, thank you so much, Gaurav. That'd be amazing. Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of when I watch something. I always liked things that were difficult being made simple. And when someone, you could get 10 people that explain the same thing, and there's always going to be someone who will explain it better than someone else. And so that's why I've always been very passionate about just trying to break things down, because there's some things that I think people might sometimes look at, or techniques or bits of my work that people look at and go, wow, that looks so cool, that's amazing. And it's like, but once you know the trick, it's so easy to do. Even some of the that's why I love, or I mean, there's lots of layers here and they're horrible and they look horrible. And there's going to be a lot of this in the Photoshop masterclass. Once you understand what these do, it's so easy once you get your head around it. And I think that's all it needs. It just needs someone explaining it in a way that is easy to understand. And once you understand it, it just becomes easy. That's the thing that probably excites me the most about the masterclasses, is because it's going to teach the best of what I can teach. But it's like, this isn't hard once you understand it. Like there are some things with design that are hard and that do require some skill, like lighting. Lighting on hair, for example. That's something that we're going to be covering in the Photoshop masterclass as well, drawing hair and lighting. And it can be tricky and it can take a bit of work and a bit of going over, but at least once you know that you're doing it the right way and you've got the right tools, you can practice that, whereas like when I started doing hair, it was like, oh, am I using the right brush? Am I even doing this right? Why does this look rubbish? So at least if you can cover the bases and go, okay, well, I know that I'm using the right brush. I'm using this technique that Dan showed me. So the rest is just practice now. So I think there is that gives you that sort of confidence that you are doing it right. But this particular technique just you need to practice it. Is it okay to create the game UI without animation? Yeah, for sure. You can use animation. You can use no animation. Yeah, I think. I mean, if you design a UI, I think it depends. There's a lot of factors, but I would say if you can add some sound effect, if you're going to have like an interactive UI, adding a few sound effects when you move things around and maybe adding some background music would definitely help sell it more as a concept. So I'm not saying you have to animate it, but the more you can present the concept as a kind of, the better you can sell your idea or your concept. I think the better the entry would be. And if you use music and animate, if adding animation or even sound effects and music would help sell that, then maybe consider it, yeah. It depends, because there's so many factors, to do with the art style and things as well. Cute. Oh, thank you. That is very. You're all too kind. You're all so lovely. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome. It's an absolute pleasure. Right, I'm going to see if the children are still alive, and then we've got to go and get some breakfast. Actually, I'm hungry. Yeah, I'm hungry. But yeah, let me find the community link again. So if you are interested in entering the competition, there's 12 days left. And you can find out all the info in here. Yeah, I can't wait to see what everyone creates. It's going to be fun. Right, cool. Yeah, thank you for joining today. Have an amazing rest of your weekend, and I'll see you next week. Bye. Yeah, 12 days, Raquel. 12 days. The clock is ticking.